Hi everybody, Paul here again with another drum set video for hashtag Ordway School. This one's a little more advanced, and this is going to be great to add to your drum set playing toolbox, whether you're just going to do some gigging with some friends or jam sessions, or you're going to play some musical theater. And in fact, this part of your playing is going to be useful for almost every classical musical theater piece that there is. And what we're talking about today are brushes. So I've got an overhead camera situation going for you today. So I'm going to let the camera scoop down onto the top of my snare drum so you can see the patterns that I'm playing, and give you little tips on how to get started with playing brushes. Here we go. All right. So as you can see on my drum, first of all, my drum head has a coating, and that's necessary for playing any brushes. We don't really get any sound if you have a clear, uncoated drum head. The next thing I did was mark 4 of the main spots on my drum like a clock. So we have 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And that helps me keep track of where I am for any particular beat, because these brushes can easily get tangled up, and playing brushes is not a random pattern. As you'll see as we get going here, there's actually a definitive time where each brush is in a certain part of the drum head. So why do we play brushes? Well, first of all, they're quieter than snare drum sticks. So we can play along to other musicians playing nice and quietly, and we don't have to feel like we're just tapping with our snare sticks. The other thing is that our left hand, when it gets swirling, helps fill out some sound, because these little taps with the brushes just don't last very long sound-wise. So our swirling really helps to fill in some of the gaps in sound. So we're going to start with our swirling hand. And for me, that's my left hand. And you can go clockwise or counterclockwise. There are no rules to this. I like to go clockwise. And I'm thinking of my 3 o'clock marker here as the first and third beats of a measure. So we're talking in 4/4 time. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. My 1 o'clock, my beat 1 and beat 3 are here. Beat 2 and 4 are over here. So I'm doing 1 swirl of the drum per 2 beats. So let me show you what that looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you notice I put a little accent on the 1 and the 3 here. You'll find out in a second why, but let me first show you how I do it. As I come to the 3 o'clock marker, I speed up a little bit to make an accent. And if you needed even more of an accent, you can hit this little rubber part of your brush against the head. It's not always the best sound, but it gets across a really nice accent on those beats. Now the reason I'm doing 1 circle per 2 beats is because I have to manage all these wires for 2 brushes and not get them tangled up. So if my beat 1 for my left hand is here, I want my beat 1 of my right hand out of the way. So it's going to go on the opposite side. So I'm going to play quarter notes with my right hand and tap a quarter note rhythm while swirling with my left hand. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. There you go. So my hands are on opposite sides of the drum each beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just that the left one stays in contact with the drum the whole time, and the right one is playing a quarter note rhythm. Here's that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you notice how I said earlier, the left hand is not random. It actually has a rhythm to it. And if we're thinking of a swing pattern, I'm constantly thinking triplets. Triplet, 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 triple. That way, I'm always thinking in the subdivision of the groove I'm playing. Now, we're going to play the ride cymbal pattern that goes along with a jazz beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And I'm going to play all of that with my right hand, still crossing just like I did, but we traverse the drum a little bit differently. Let me show you what that looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So you notice I went 1, and I'm over here out of the way of this brush. You can practice that without swirling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's your basic pattern with the swirling. Now, to make this one step more challenging, we need the hi-hat. The hi-hat needs to be in there on beats 2 and 4. That's just a standard jazz thing. And in musical theater, 2 and 4 really helps the band lock in and helps the dancers feel where those strong backbeats are. So here's what that's going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you notice the hi-hat comes down at the same time as my right hand plays right here at 3 o'clock. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is your basic brush 101 rhythm, and that will get you through so many grooves and gigs and theater songs, but you need to do it really well and to do it at different tempos. The faster you go, the smaller everything becomes, and your circle and tap becomes a little more compact, like this. Okay, so smaller circles. When it's slow, we need to take up the whole drum to fill out that sound. Now, I'm going to give you a couple more advanced patterns just to work on for fun. Okay, so the next one has both brushes doing circles at the same time. So I like to do mine where the beat, just like my left hand earlier was coming towards me for the main beats, I'm going to do that with both at the same time coming towards me. So here's what it looks like if I split my hands. Both brushes coming towards me. Eventually we want to be able to overlap. I like to have the right brush over the left. You hear that little accent? This time it's with both brushes. And we got to add the hi-hat in there on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're adventurous and feeling confident about that, you're going to add your bass drum in. Really important, because the brushes are so soft, we're only feathering the bass drum. So what I mean by that is, imagine hitting your bass drum with a feather. That's all the louder it needs to be. Okay, let me add the bass drum in. All the bass drum is doing is emphasizing the beats lightly and sort of doubling what the bass player might be playing with their quarter notes on the bass. Now, to make this groove a little more fun, we're going to accent that ride pattern for the jazz ride pattern, and it's going to be split between the two brushes. And we're not going to lift our brushes ever at all. We're going to do that sweeping accent. Here it is slow with my hands apart. Now you notice my right hand had all of the quarter note beats, and the left hand took care of the and after 2 and the after 1. So if I play just quarters and the rhythm with no sweeping, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now swirling. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, Okay? The reason this beat is great is because now we have twice the swirling sound. We're really filling up the sound here. And you can adapt this to slow speeds by using more of the drum. Or faster speeds by using smaller circles. And you notice I'm always thinking triplets. Let's add the hi-hat back in there with a little bass drum feathering. There you go, overlapping circles. The last one I want to show you is how to play a Bossa Nova with your brushes. So, Bossa Nova typically has eighth notes on the hi-hat. We'll have a clave pattern with a cross stick, and the bass drum plays what I like to call the heartbeat. Okay? A couple of different ways to adapt that to our brushes. We can turn one brush around to do our cross stick, and you can either use the metal hoop here at the end against your rim. It's not very loud, but again, brushes are meant for this softer playing. Or if you have a brush that has a harder handle, some are wooden, you can go right across the rim like that. And instead of playing the hi-hat, we're going to play here on the drum. Now, if you want to take that another level, we're going to sweep back and forth with this hand. Now, one more level to that would be to actually sweep in a guiro pattern. So our scraper that some people say in their music school has a, looks like a fish. Sometimes they call it the scraper fish. So we're going to go long, short, short, long, short, short, long. And there are really no rules whether you go one direction for the long sweep and two short notes back, or you alternate everything. So here's that with some sweeping, quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth. Now, you notice I don't have a whole lot of room on my drum, so I might play this sweeping over on my floor tom. And another thing you might notice is that this click really isn't very loud. So I'm going to use one stick and one brush to really get the feel of that groove. There's no problem, no issues with splitting up what you're playing, two different things in your hands. Just when you do a fill, you might use just one at a time, depending on if it's a soft fill or a loud fill. So here's that Bossa Nova with two different sticks. There you go. That's the Bossa Nova. So, get your brushes going. Start nice and simple with some sweeping and simple rhythms. You can leave your bass drum out, but once you bring it in, make sure it's just being feathered and really quiet. And make sure that hi-hat is really important. Get that hi-hat on beats 2 and 4. Nice solid click, and you're good to go. There's a lot of great books out there for brushes and some really great videos. Just do a YouTube search and you'll find some amazing things. Good luck with your brushes and have fun.